Will I have to subpoena you?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Expect a subpoena. Thank you.
Fauci has previously denied wrongdoing and has accused Senator Paul of having an obsession with calls for his prosecution. A new warning from President Trump to Iran after attempted attacks on U.S. forces.
President Trump reacting to that surprise attack launched by Iran against U.S. forces in Jordan. The president told Fox News, quote, "We are going to beat the effing S out of them." He went on to say, "We'll be hitting them hard." And he finished saying they're going to get a beating. We know at least 5 missiles were fired by Iran, breaking the lull in attacks over the past several days.
Fox's Trey Yingst in Tel Aviv. America is listening to Fox News.
Now, your official weather forecast.
This afternoon, expect plenty of sunshine with hazy skies due to wildfire smoke and a high temperature of 82. Tonight will bring a crystal clear sky with a low of 63. Tomorrow, anticipate a transition from sun to clouds with a high reaching 88. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Alex Marlow sees the president trying to save our elections.
He showed there are massive vulnerabilities and we need a robust nationwide effort to try to fix them. And it starts with, drum roll please, the Save America Act. Let's just start with people bringing IDs to the polls. Let's start making sure people are registered citizens when they go to vote. Of course, this is logical. This is important. This is necessary.
The Alex Marlow Show. Afternoons at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
If you haven't switched to Pure Talk because you're not sure their coverage is every bit as reliable as Big Wireless, why not take them for a test drive? For a limited time, Pure Talk is offering any of their plans for just $15 a month for the first 3 months, including their top-tier unlimited data plan. No contracts, no commitments. Just a great deal on a high-speed network with unlimited data from an American wireless company. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and let the savings begin.
Here it comes. Surprise! There's an avocado shortage! Now half your food truck menu is costing more than it's making you! Also, you're out of napkins!
Those aren't cheap! Progressive knows small business owners usually don't like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise, saving 10% or more on commercial auto insurance when you pay in full.
Also, an ice cream truck stole your parking spot! Looks like you're in a turf war!
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com, or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
Maybe you've thought about taking a cruise. Maybe you've even talked yourself out of it. But this is not just another vacation. This is the Gulf of America cruise. 7 days through the Caribbean with Mike Gallagher, Scott Jennings, Larry O'Connor, Jennifer Horn, and a ship full of people who love this country. No packing and unpacking, no complicated planning, just great destinations, meaningful conversations, and a once-in-a-generation celebration of America's 250th. This November, be there. Text CRUISE to 94878 to book your cabin today.
The TV tide is turning, and millions of Americans are tuning to Salem News Channel. For breaking news, common sense analysis, and the conservative voices leading the conversation, SNC delivers the stories that matter most. Watch Scott Jennings, Larry Elder, Mike Gallagher, and many others tackling the issues facing our nation. Stream free on Pluto TV, Samsung TV, the Roku channel, and more. Salem News Channel. The news you want, the perspective you trust.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Goldilocks, offering smart security systems to homes and businesses. Call Goldilocks at 708-889-5600.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
The following live program is sponsored by Breakthrough Ideas.
AM 560, The Answer. It's time for breaking news, expert insight, and informed commentary on what's happening in Springfield, Chicago, and beyond. Because an informed citizenry is the only way to protect our republic. It's time for The Real Story with Jeannie Ives and Amy Jacobson.
All right, 6 years later, we are going ahead and we are looking back at COVID and what happened. And Fauci was on the hot seat today. And Governor Pritzker needs to be on the hot seat. And every Democrat who shut down this state and stole from people need to be on the hot seat. And I'm not going to let this go.
No, and we aren't either. We want to take your phone calls too. 312-642-5600. Fauci, I don't know if anybody was surprised he decided to plead the fifth, but not before making a declarative statement that he is the victim.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution.
Based on the facts presented, I'm going to direct you to answer the questions.
Sorry, here's his opening statement.
Given Senator Paul's obvious obsession with calling for my prosecution, his repeated slanderous comments about me, and recently his publicly releasing my unredacted personal diary aimed at embarrassing and intimidating me, the only conclusion I can reach is that the sole reason he is calling me before this committee is to get me to say something, anything, that could vindicate his repeated public pledges that I end up, in his words, quote, behind bars, unquote. Any reasonable person who has followed his unhinged obsession with me would readily come to the same conclusion. Therefore, although it pains me to do so, because of the respect I have for the legislative
He's going to plead the fifth.
Right. Yeah. So, well, I mean, look, I guess I'm not surprised. I don't think anybody should be that he is pleading the fifth, but we're not over with this conversation, and we need to have Governor Pritzker and the Democrat leaders on the, explaining too what they did during COVID, especially in light of the fact that Fauci lied. Rand Paul put out 1,141 pages of his supposed diary that was actually produced in-house. It's not his actual diary. It's a diary he kept on a government laptop.
What an idiot. I mean,
he's an idiot.
Dear diary, I'm going through puberty. I mean, kids, juveniles.
Dear God, it's me, Margaret.
Yeah, exactly. And that's fine if you're going through rehab. People do diaries and they journal. But this wasn't a journal, Jeannie.
No.
This was a diary. And this is what is one of the most explosive moments when Senator Moreno started questioning Mr. Fauci.
Those policies were put in place because you had moronic politicians that listened to the words of a megalomaniac who was more interested in having met a Kardashian than the suffering of the American people. And that is you. Your advice to communities like that, to idiotic politicians who enforce those rules, arrested that mom for watching a football game with her own family outside. When that story broke, I said to myself, I cannot stand idly on the side and watch this happen. It was about 6 years ago today that I decided I'm going to give up my businesses, sell them all, run for office, run for the United States Senate. Here I am sitting in front of you 6 years later saying, who the do you think you were for doing that?
Oh, yeah, he had everybody in a tizzy.
It is a total disgrace what you did to this country. And if my Democrat...
And it's a total disgrace what Pritzker did to the state. 40 months of his COVID orders. 40 months he locked down. I remember the Karen in our neighborhood coming over to my son and his friends playing basketball on the basketball court right next to where we live. We live next to an elementary school. They're out there on a beautiful July day playing basketball. She came over. She called the police on them. She called the police on these. I mean, they're 18 years old. They've already graduated from high school. They graduated the year before. They were all home for the summer because everybody didn't have jobs. Everybody was out of college at that point. She called the police. What idiots these people created an idiot class. And people just fell in for this garbage.
Well, it didn't matter how old they were. They could be 60. If there was more than 2 or 3 people together because they had these idiot circles, then people called the police on each other. And if you went to a grocery store and didn't wear a mask and trying to check out, they wouldn't let you check out. And our friend got the police called on her. But the reason why Dr. Fauci, and again, he looked so nervous up there. I don't know if you saw him. He was scared at the beginning. He was a little jumpy. And his attorney would not leave. And Rand Paul asked his attorney, first of all, you're not invited. Don't sit next to him.
But the attorneys are not recognized. In fact, the attorney was told not to sit at the table, and he's not obeying that recommendation. There's a row behind you, sir. That's where you were told to sit, and you're not. And now you're disrupting the proceedings. And so, look, this is the way Anthony Fauci wants to be remembered, for a lawyer not listening to the rules. That's the way you want to be remembered, and that's what you're going to do. You are not recognized, sir. Security, please remove him from the room.
Yes.
All right.
Standing ovation.
Yeah. No, I mean, that was a good moment, too. There were a lot of good moments. We'll be playing the clips all day. We want your input, too. What is your worst moment during COVID? Give us a call, 312-642-5600. Look, it's, but again, to focus in on Pritzker, because he was all in on this COVID-ian stuff. All in. And the guy's just the liar in chief. That's who he is.
Well, according to Dr. Fauci's Dear Diary, he bragged that Governor Newsom and Governor Pritzker both shut down schools, bars and restaurants, gyms, churches on his advice. And he felt so empowered. He loved this attention. He must have gotten beaten up as a kid. And I know he probably has a Napoleon complex because he's a really short guy. Mm-hmm. But he thrived on this power. He loved it. And for reasons why. Julia Roberts had a podcast back then, and she interviewed him. So this is him. He was a little late, so he comes back into screen a few seconds, and she almost melts. He's her hero.
So rad that we have maybe the coolest man on the planet right now.
Oh, my God.
Wow, and there's the room. This is intense. Does anybody else have
There he is.
Hello. Hi there.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, this is such a thrill. How are you?
Pretty good, I guess. It's a little bit like running on fumes for a couple of months, but
I would imagine this is a thrill for me because you truly have emerged as a personal hero for me, and you've been this true north, I think, for a lot of people.
That's why his ego was inflated. And then dinner with Barbra Streisand and the Kardashians. He wrote all about it in his diary. It's 1,100 pages. I suggest everybody read it because it shows you a sick megalomaniac. The problem is, Jeannie, he didn't have kids. He didn't have grandkids. So the policies he was implementing had no effect to him. He didn't care.
No, the problem is that he's really, like a Dr. Kevorkian. He's a Dr. Death guy, and he's just a power hungry scumbag. There's a lot to recall here, but before we talk to you more about the COVID issue, we really need we're going to take a quick break because I'm going to get this lady on. She has blown the whistle on Pritzker's lies about illegal immigrants getting Medicaid. She wrote a massive Substack article about it. She's an Illinoisan. She worked putting people on Medicaid. She was a processor for it. She knows the real story. And so we're having her on right after this break. Stay tuned for Nicole Patrice.
Don't believe the official narrative? You've got the real story on AM 560, The Answer.
Hey, sorry to hear your mom passed away.
Thanks.
A lot of work to do settling her assets?
Actually, she prepared a living trust. Makes this process simple.
Yeah, I set up a will for my kids. Should make it easy.
Well, unless your assets are small, your kids will have to go to court to settle your will.
So, where do I get a living trust?
Nauman and Associates. They prepare wills and trusts for a flat fee. No surprises.
Nauman and Associates in Elk Grove Village?
That's right. NALawgroup.com. Call 847-593-8777.
Hi, it's Amy Jacobson, and last year I hired Level 10 Coatings to give my garage floor a total makeover, and I am loving it. It still looks great, shiny and clean. Level 10 Coatings. Now, you've got to call these guys if your garage floor is cracked, stained, still covered in salt. Don't live like that. Get it done now so you can enjoy it this summer. Level 10 Coatings. They're fast, reliable, and highly professional. Guess what? I went to work. When I came home, it was done. A shiny new gleaming garage floor. A quick, easy fix, and it's guaranteed never to chip or peel. Why? It's not an epoxy job. It's better. Level 10 uses polyurea, which is much better than epoxy. So schedule your free quote today and mention me, Amy, to receive $500 off. Visit level10coatings.com. That's level, the number 10, coatings.com, or call 855-510-2628. Staff are local and ready to answer questions. Level 10 Coatings, your premier concrete coating experts.
Most investments today feel like second jobs. Real estate, you're a landlord. Stocks, you're a day trader. Crypto, you're a full-time researcher. You've got a life to live. Your investment should help you live it. That's why more Americans are choosing gold. Noble Gold has helped thousands protect their future with real physical gold. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com to get your free wealth protection kit. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, welcome back. We'll be talking a lot about COVID over the rest of this week. So we'll be taking your questions. Hold on to those callers that are on the line already. But I want to get to this story because, the lies that Fauci said are only outdone by the lies that Pritzker has said. And writing in her Substack, Nicole Patrice starts out with, at the June 2025 House Oversight hearing on sanctuary states, Representative Byron Donalds pressed Governor Pritzker on whether Illinois keeps track of the public dollars going to illegal immigrants. Pritzker's reply on Medicaid was, they do not get Medicaid in Illinois or any state as far as I know. Now, that's false. That's patently false. We know it's false. And he should have known it's false. And joining us right now is Nicole Patrice because she actually processed these cases. And she's writing in a very lengthy Substack that it is false. Nicole, thanks for joining us.
Hi, thank you guys for having me. Good morning.
Yes, so you're, I assume, no longer working for the state of Illinois?
Unfortunately, I am still
in
the umbrella of the state. And so, speaking out about this definitely has some, pushback surrounding me, a little pressure. But I feel obligated to speak out because, we take an oath as caseworkers, just like J.B. Pritzker and his secretary, Dufe Quintero, also take oaths. So, I feel like I can't, as a steward of the taxpayers' dollars, just sit back and be quiet when I know better.
Right. And legally, they can't fire whistleblowers. So it would have helped you could have sued them if they did. But tell us what happened.
We all kind of knew Pritzker was going to be called last year as a sanctuary governor. He talked a lot about his people and how he has to stand up for his people. And so you would think as a caseworker, when you're watching him testify under oath, in front of Congress, that he's going to say things that are true and stand on the fact that, yes, non-citizens do get Medicaid. Since 1986, there's federal law that all states, as far as emergent needs are concerned, can process those cases through Medicaid for non-citizens. He used the term non-citizens, which is an umbrella for, asylum seekers as well as illegal immigrants. And, Byron Donalds framed it as illegal immigrants, and he knows full well illegal immigrants fall under non-citizens. Asylum seekers can be documented, but if they intend to apply, during that time period where we were processing those applications, we could just take that statement that you intend to apply. Who knows if you ever applied? You just had to give us a statement and other credible evidence, which really could have just been any other source. So, a newspaper clipping, a family member, or some other witness. We honestly, there's any caseworker you could ask. There's no way that we could have corroborated all of this, and there's no way for us to know that these people actually got valid asylum claims in the end, because a lot of them seemingly were coached through the process from, either NGOs at the border through the CBP One app. Who knows?
So you've put out a Venn diagram of this. You say there's one circle of asylum seekers. There's another big circle of the illegal immigrant, which they have no lawful immigration status. And there's an overlap in what you call the undocumented overlap, which is Pritzker's gap. And these are people that are pending or unverified asylum claim and is not legal status. If it fails or is never filed, that person was here unlawfully all along. But all of these folks, the asylum seeker, the undocumented overlap, and the illegal immigrant are getting Medicaid. It's maybe to what extent they're getting Medicaid. Is that right?
Correct, or how they qualified under certain programs. There are state-funded medical programs as well that are different.
Oh, yeah, we know because, Delia Ramirez put that in place in 2020. Famously, it's cost the state well over $2 billion since it, and then they've had to back away from it and only give it to the most senior people because they got caught doing something that they couldn't justify.
Absolutely. Yep. And so that July 14th memo, the HR 1 non-citizen Medicaid changes that went out from, Duce Quintero, DHS, J.B. Pritzker, their names are on those memos. So for you to put out something saying that you're going to stop providing coverage or discontinue full Medicaid coverage, well, that's federal Medicaid for non-citizens. You can't turn off something that was never on.
Yeah, so he lied in committee.
Yeah.
So have any state agencies or law enforcement officials contacted you about your allegations?
No, I do have something that's pending surrounding my time at the state, which is a legal matter that's in process that I can't really speak on completely. But I will say that ask any caseworker who's worked with the state of Illinois and any of the agencies, really, DOC, Department of Rehabilitation Services. There's a lot of circular regulatory processes that basically lead you back to nowhere. So it's really hard to speak out. It's really hard to ask these people to be accountable for what, we all pledge oaths to. There's codes, there's statutes, and we all have to abide by them, codes of ethics. And it's disheartening to see the governor, who signs everything, pretend that he doesn't know what's going on in his own agency.
So do you sit in an actual office where people would physically come forward and apply for Medicaid or other government benefits?
Yes, and I'm a bilingual Spanish caseworker, and so many of us who are bilingual Spanish were thrust, right into the center of this open borders, panic. And so, we're sitting there, we're processing these cases, and we try to follow, the law and the policy as best as we can. But it's really hard when there's a lot of rhetoric that, inflames the policy. There's a lot of pushback from the state against the federal government. I don't know if you're aware, I did another Substack on how the fresh payments are giving $400 cash pretty much automatically loaded onto cards for people who didn't meet the SNAP work requirement. And I think that's also problematic because there's not a lot of leverage there to make sure that these people are all, within the policy to receive benefits from the state of Illinois. For all you know, these people may have gone to another state. I mean, you really don't know if you're just going to give them cash because they didn't meet the work requirement. Yeah, no, that was a huge bill. That's their Fresh Act that was just passed because they knew that some recipients of food stamps were going to be taken off of it. And so there's now apparently it's a $70 million program, 175,000 Illinois food stamp recipients. These are people getting $400 from the state, but they refuse to comply with the requirements to receive this benefit. They refuse, and the state's just like, well, we're going to give you a couple months worth of benefits anyway because we feel sorry for you. Sorry, I'm not sorry, Okay, yeah. Like a person walks into your office, and they are they being brought in sometimes by an NGO? Are somebody sitting with them? Do you see that happening? I believe that does happen as well, but a lot of them I feel like are coached well before they reach our doors. You will see groups of people come in and kind of all have the same rundown of what they're going to do. I mean, it's from the beginning, you can tell a lot of these people were coached. There was a lot of, I just came here for the benefits. Like, they didn't even know what they were doing. You can tell it was all at the direction of someone else. Okay. And they're when at your desk, do they only apply for Medicaid, or what other benefits are you vetting them for? Well, there's the VTTC, which is victims of torture, trafficking, and crimes. And so a lot of those asylum seekers get state-funded benefits through that program. So they were getting state food, state medical, state cash. That's all kind of wrapped into one. And so, like, if you have attempted to apply for asylum, and then if they change those rules where you had to have already applied within that time frame, and then going forward, they were approved based on that. We've exhausted those funds in the last fiscal year. It's been renewed and picked up again in July. So, we're allocating state funds for those programs as well.
All right. Program note, if you're on the line to talk about Fauci's COVID lies, we'll take your calls at 11:35. Right now, we're speaking with Nicole Patrice. She's an Illinois Medicaid whistleblower. So what outcome are you hoping results from your decision to come forward?
I'm just hoping that there's more transparency. Just be honest. I like, ultimately, as a caseworker, you have to ask, what are we doing? If we look around and we're supposed to be mandated reporters, we're supposed to report age fraud, we're supposed to, flag things for documents that are questionable. And when we are looking at our, heads of state and our governor stating that he doesn't know what's going on, and you're sort of hiding what we're doing, but then you're so-called proud of it when you stand up at a podium and, you talk about the current federal administration, it's kind of disheartening. So I would love for there to be just a connection between our oaths as caseworkers on the ground and what's happening in the governor's office.
Do you feel like you're well trained for this position, or do you feel like there's a lot of loose ends that you just are making a judgment decision on?
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of street bureaucracy where we have to make those decisions, and we're not always 100% clear on the direction. Directions change a lot, policy changes a lot. And again, with this administration, I feel like there's a lot of knee-jerk reactions, and we're reacting to things not out of the best interest of the people. And again, like I said, we're mandated reporters. When you see paperwork and you're not checking for age verification and you don't know if this child is actually with this person and is their biological, there's a lot of loose ends there, and we need to be more responsible. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Has that ever made you like, I don't know, nervous about it? Like, did you ever, I don't know, just get your radar
absolutely.
up that is this person being trafficked?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There's always a chance that that's happening when you see, children and people don't have all their paperwork together, and, we kind of just pass it along or, take whatever they, at the border. We don't even know what they told these people at the border, but we are accepting that paperwork as identification. I even think the Illinois Secretary of State may even have to, answer for how they were given out driver's licenses because of that situation. I know, Joe Abraham's been very vocal about that. So there's a lot to be desired about, treating the process how it's supposed to be in black and white ink, instead of, letting our empathy and just panic because of that open borders influx take over.
Well, how many people do you think are kids you've seen that could possibly have been trafficked? And what do you do about it as a mandated reporter?
So as a mandated reporter, you can mention it to your manager, you can flag things, in the case, but essentially, there's everything kind of goes through the state and it's very circular. So again, you just kind of have to put it in the hands of, DCFS or whomever the other reporting agency is. And then, they take over. So again, these are all state agencies and they all have, their own issues that they're dealing with. But yeah, as far as following the policy, we try our best to do that. But I'm sure there's a lot of that going on that's undetected.
Hey, Patrice, one more thing here before we have to let you go. We only have about 30 seconds left. I'm very, very curious because we are the biggest state for out-of-state abortions, and we know that Medicaid covers all abortions and that you're assumed to be eligible if you're pregnant. Do you see people walking in pregnant and requesting Medicaid?
Oh, absolutely. That Trump versus Barber situation was not the right call, and I hope that Congress can make something clear for us to get around that.
All right. Well, we really appreciate your efforts here. Thanks a lot for writing about it and being honest about what's going on in our government. We need more of that. And this is how they uncovered the Minneapolis fraud. They had whistleblowers calling the fraud. Thank you so much. We'll be right back.
Sean Fest returns on August 28th at the Westin Chicago Northwest in Itasca. Be a part of a live, on-location broadcast of The Sean Thompson Show, including a performance of the national anthem, followed by live music, food, drinks, and an opportunity to meet Sean Thompson. Registration is free. Go to 560theanswer.com/SeanFest. That's 560theanswer.com/SHAUN Fest. Sponsored in part by Virago and by State Farm Insurance Agent Anthony DeGrotto.
Fox News, I'm Jeanne
Pelosi, Dr. Anthony Fauci pleading the fifth at a Senate hearing on the COVID origins and pandemic policy.
As well as Fauci's just released private journal, in which committee chair Republican Rand Paul says Fauci admits the virus never came from a Chinese wet market. Paul says it came from a Chinese lab that he says the NIH, under Fauci, funded. Fauci has said his guidance over COVID was based on the best scientific evidence available at the time.
Fox's Jeff Manasso, President Trump with a new warning to Iran.
Using a string of expletives, President Trump says Iran will get a beating a day after U.S. forces intercepted a ballistic missile attack in Jordan. In a phone interview with Fox's Trey Yingst, the president said American troops had only minutes to respond to the surprise attack overnight and successfully shot down incoming missiles before they reached their targets.
Fox's Jared Halpern, America's listening to Fox News.
Now, your official weather forecast.
This afternoon, expect sunny skies with some haziness due to wildfire smoke, reaching a high of 82. Tonight will bring a clear sky with a low of 63. Tomorrow, anticipate a transition from sun to clouds with temperatures peaking at 88. I'm meteorologist Jason Catarina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Eggland's Best, the only eggs with more fresh and delicious taste, plus superior nutrition. Eggland's Best, better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
The mainstream media isn't just biased. They're hiding stories from you, deliberately. Restoration News is changing that. With elite researchers and fearless writers, Restoration News is the conservative media force fighting back in the information war for America's future. Download the Restoration News mobile app today or visit restoration-news.com. That's restoration-news.com. Real stories, real truth. It's time you knew what they don't want you to know.
It's summer. Time to get outside and enjoy the beautiful weather in a brand new scooter from Mars Medical in New Lenox. Come see and test drive their full collection of new and used power mobility devices for sale. Mars Medical carries full and travel size scooters from Pride Mobility and Golden Technologies. Inventory is moving out daily, so don't hesitate to pick out your new scooter today. And don't forget, Mars Medical also has lightweight and compact transport wheelchairs available for sale or rental use for those day trips to the zoo or to the park. Some units weigh as little as 19 pounds. Or improve your outdoor activities with a rollator walker. Mars Medical has over 7 models of rollator walkers on the floor for purchase. Make this summer one to remember with help from Mars Medical on the north side of Route 30 between Cedar and Vine Road in New Lenox. Or go to marsmedicalsupply.com. Mars Medical, customer care that is out of this world.
It's peaceful here. Quiet. But it wasn't always. Here, the past isn't confined to textbooks or museums. It's in the soil, a pulse within the earth. Here, you can walk in step with history, where others once marched towards the unknown. The past is never really behind us. It's here, under our feet. The land never forgets the stride of the weary or the reach of the hopeful. The land remembers. And so does the American Battlefield Trust, dedicated to preserving America's hallowed battlegrounds. Now, on our nation's 250th birthday, become a member so the next acre becomes the next chapter. The next chapter becomes the next lesson. Join the trust. Protect the future. Go to battlefields.org.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
During the War for Independence, General George Washington, the man we refer to today as the father of our country, led American troops through military defeat after defeat. And in the bitter winter of 1777, he wrote this somber note to a friend in Philadelphia. Quote, "You might have tracked our army from White Marsh to Valley Forge by the blood on their feet," end of quote. Many soldiers continued to march through the deep snows of Pennsylvania without shoes. Others suffered from disease, hunger, and freezing conditions. Nearly 2,000 of Washington's men died. Yet George Washington did not lose faith. Amid the hardship, loss, and uncertainty of Valley Forge, he turned to God in prayer. At a time when our nation once again faces division and uncertainty, may we follow Washington's example, kneeling humbly, praying faithfully, and asking God to guide the future of America.
Veterans and active duty service members, when your call to service ends, your mission doesn't have to. Go from GI to IT in just a few months at My Computer Career. Prepare for a high-demand career in cybersecurity, protecting people, systems, and institutions from real cyber threats. Cyber warriors are needed now. Will you answer the call? Go to mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to learn more. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner. VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
This hour is brought to you by Retirement Decoded with Scott Tucker and Amy Jacobson. Heard Sunday mornings from 7 to 9 a.m. Learn more at retirementdecoded.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Hey, Jeannie, what day is it? What color's the carpet in this room? These are.
I plead the fifth.
Oh, then guess who you're exactly like? Dr. Fauci.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, nothing says honesty like taking the fifth, huh, Doc? Let's try something. What day of the week is it today?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color tie are you wearing?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color is the carpet?
Yeah, what color's the carpet? Somebody texted in Justin Kosa, because he puts all these bits together here on the station, Jeannie, that he should say, I plead the fifth, and put it to the Beethoven's fifth. Da-na-na-na. That would be good. I plead the fifth. So, yeah, and the hearing, I think they take a break now, but it's still, they're not letting go. They're not letting up on him, and each senator is going to have their time to try and get him to answer questions.
Yeah, it's not very successful right now, but let's talk to George in Naperville. What's he got to say about it all? George? Hi, George.
Good morning, ladies. Yeah, my comment is pushing the vaccine to the extreme by saying we have a pandemic of the unvaccinated was a bit disturbing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean...
it got so bad they offered people money, and we'll talk about that with the Edgar County Watchdogs, how much money that they were offering, and free things, Jeannie, like trips to Great America.
Well, Lee in Hammond wants to weigh in. Thanks for calling, Lee. Appreciate it.
Hey guys, this thing with Fauci, he's a profiteer. He's not a medical doctor. It doesn't even start with the COVID. It goes all the way back to AZT and AIDS back in the 80s, I think. There's two good books on this guy, Plague of Corruption and The Real Anthony Fauci. This guy's been up to his eyeballs in eugenics and population control, and he's ruthless, and he's got to be somebody's protecting this guy. It's not just Fauci; he's just a minion. There's no way he could have gotten away with all of this as long as he had, unless somebody's covering for him.
Well, that's why Biden pardoned him before he left office. But if he lied today on the stand, he could be held into contempt of court.
This guy.
Yeah, no, I mean, Dr. Malone wrote a whole Fauci in good faith, and he said he put the correct mortality estimates in his own notebook, published it under his own name, and gave Congress a figure 3 to 5 times higher. He's such a liar, and everybody knows it now. Okay, thanks a lot for the call. Appreciate that.
Let's go to Ken in Rogers Park. Hi, Ken. You're on The Real Story. Good morning.
Hi, Amy, Jeannie. Good morning. I've met you both at station events. Jeannie, I met you at the Illinois Right to Life. Nice to talk to you on the air. I distinctly remember, and Amy, you and Dan were talking about this on the air. Pritzker shut down all high school sports. Meanwhile, he sent his daughter, maybe on private jet, down to Florida to practice her horse dressage, just like Ann Romney. And Pritzker is the poster child in the dictionary for rules for thee and not for me. I honestly believe that he has nothing but contempt for us normal Illinois residents, people who are not wealthy like himself, and that if it were politically palatable for the lockdown to continue, I think he would still have it in effect because it gives him more power.
Oh, he loved the power. I mean, he loved it so much. He had press conferences every day, even Saturdays and Sundays. I mean, he was, and also too, rules for thee, but not for me. Because he was able to protect his kids. He flew them out of town. We know this, on the family private jet down to their place. They have an equestrian 12-acre compound in Florida. Donnie and his daughter, they went down.
Yeah,
so
this has all been well discussed.
Yeah, right. But after that happened, then he kind of turned on the media because we called him out on it. But and then also, too, you're right, closed down churches and kept open strip clubs. But the customers had to be 10 feet apart, Gene.
Some people would say, "What's wrong with that?" But it was the first time ever that my synagogue had to shut down, and it was just unconscionable.
Yeah, absolutely, Ken. And unfortunately, people complied. Everybody should have just rejected all these mandates, but they didn't. Oh, well.
It's sad when you didn't have
all right,
church.
thanks a lot, Ken. Appreciate it.
Well, they tried Zoom
Yep.
church, but that's not the same.
All right, we'll take Eduardo, and then we're going to get to the Watchdogs. Eduardo, welcome.
Yeah, good morning, ladies. Yeah, along with Dr. Fauci going to jail, people like Governor Newsom, Pritzker, Karen Bass, Lori Lightfoot, they all should be in jail right next to Dr. Fauci, in my opinion.
Well, I don't disagree. I mean, how about just all the fraud they let go? $5.2 billion in unemployment fraud. I'm going to make my own list, Amy.
You should.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Everything that Pritzker did wrong in COVID.
They loved the COVID money, though. That saved CPS, that saved the state of Illinois, that helped the budget. They knew exactly what they were doing. The downtown will never be the same. Do you understand that? Yeah. Our children will never be the same. I see it. I'm with kids all the time. There's still aftermath of lockdowns and shutdowns and the socialization problem. And everybody's on their phone. We tried so hard to get our kids off the phone. Then during COVID, all they had was their phones for Zoom, for gym class, for, you know, because your daughter lived it. Mm-hmm. So now we have the problem. We're trying to break the habit again. People, them, you know, just being on social media, walking next to their friend and texting their friend while they're walking next to their friend instead of talking to their friend.
Pritzker's on their side now. He's banned cell phones in schools.
Yay.
From first bell to the last class. So there you go.
They've been doing that for 2 years.
Oh, my God.
Idiot.
It's so stupid. All right. John and Kirk join us right now. John, you reminded me of something. They were paying people, incentivizing people to get the shot. Tell us more about that.
$10 million. The governors had the all in for the win $10 million lottery.
All in for the win.
But
I forgot.
But, you know, it was open to you didn't have to be a citizen. You could be an illegal alien and still be for it. But if you were a veteran or active duty military or family member that got your shot at a federal facility, like on a military post or at the VA hospital, then you weren't eligible for the $10 million lottery.
Well, explain how the $10 million lottery worked, because I forget.
Well, they had you had to be 18-year-old. You had to get one dose COVID-19 shot at an Illinois facility, not a federal facility. And there were 22 winners with $300,000 cash prizes, a $1 million winner, and 22 winners from regional drawings for a $100,000 cash prize, and then a $2 million cash prize at the end. And then if you're under 18, there's a $3 million scholarship pool for $150,000 scholarship to Illinois colleges if you're under 18 and had your name drawn. Illinois is not.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. Did they then publicize the winners of this?
I don't know if they publicized the winners, but, you know, Hillsborough took it a step further. The Hillsborough High School, they were paying students a lottery of $600. 3 students would receive $600 if they could get 150 students signed up to get their COVID-19 vaccine.
That's just disgusting.
If they couldn't get 150, if they got 50, then there would be 3 students that got a $250 prize.
Do you know how successful that program was?
I don't have a
I'd be mad
clue.
as hell if I were a parent.
I'm just disgusted that they even paid people to take their COVID shot, which is what it was. And Illinois used federal COVID money for the $10 million lottery.
Oh, great. Of course they did.
I mean, that is a ghastly amount of money to get a shot. Because in Chicago, CPS, they offered $50 Visa gift cards. And I know someone who came home with $200 worth of Visa gift cards and asked, what the heck were you doing? He went to different locations to get shots to make money. And they also gave away free Great America tickets if you proved that you were a kid, 18 and younger. Mm-hmm. And look, you can come. Pritzker had a big press conference in front of the Ferris wheel at Great America. Look, you can come here for free if you get a COVID shot on the way in. They were offering COVID shots on the way in.
Yeah.
And then on the way out there, the kids are dying. Or
they have myocarditis and blood clots. And
Hey, Kirk, go ahead.
He closed all the gyms down except for the ones that were in hotels like he owned.
Exactly. Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember that, too. We need a laundry list of this, so we need to start accumulating that. I want people to call in. I'll be making notes here. And we're gonna revisit this because guess what? There's not been a reckoning yet. The same people who shut this down are the same people who are in office now. Superintendents, school board members who bought into all the crap, mayors who refused to stand up, Pritzker himself. I mean, all these Democrat legislators, and they're all still in office. And Republicans, too. I mean, I remember when Mark Batnick, I mean, he's a conservative, but he was all about the masking. Like, where's the apology? I want an apology. I want a recognition that you knew this was bad.
Well, and they claimed, we're always spreading misinformation. That's all Pritzker did all the time. You're spreading misinformation.
But we went from 300 cases in Chicago to 1,000 cases a day.
Every time the numbers go down, you say you want everybody to take the masks off. Every time the numbers go up, you say you want everybody to take the masks off. I know what you stand for. Yeah, Let's keep moving on. I'd like to talk to reporters.
You never answer the questions.
Yeah.
He's gross.
Well, Kirk, you and John, on November 12th, 2021, you wrote a article. It got published in Real Clear Policy. Dr. Fauci warned about the coronaviruses in 2003, but he didn't act on it. Tell us more about that.
Thank you, Jeannie. Appreciate you having us on. Yeah, I came across a 2003 congressional hearing report dealing with what was called the BioShield program. And in that process, Fauci testified under oath and focused on these coronaviruses and the SARS, the respiratory problems, that are all over and what could happen, if these were to be released, to millions of people. And the whole purpose of the program was to put in place a BioShield. We're ready if something happens. We're going to be, monoclonal antibodies. That was talked about in 2003. How late was it before we ever saw that during the corona, pandemic? Well, in 2003, they got $5.6 billion to fund the project, and that ran them through 2013. And then they got another $2.8 billion through 2018. And the whole purpose of that whole program was to create vaccines and preparedness for a pandemic of SARS, which is part of the coronavirus
family.
I guess family, yeah. And it's all in this congressional hearing clear back in 2003. And I'm like, okay, we're talking billions of dollars. He had a job to do. He told Congress that's what they were doing, and nothing was done. There was no vaccine. There was no monoclonal antibodies. All that came out after the fact. Why did this happen clear back then? Why did he get away with this all this time? Nobody's holding that whole agency accountable during any of this. Billions of dollars, and we had no vaccine. What kind of BioShield program is that?
I mean, he's just a failure. He's an overall failure. I guess he faked his way through 54 years of being at the NIH and, 38 as the director. I mean, it's absolutely disgusting. He's just nothing more than a bureaucrat. So
well, that whole report, that whole congressional hearing talked about the weapons of mass destruction and the bioterrorism. And he says, we've got to be prepared. We've got to protect our troops. We got to do this. We got to do that. Please give me money. Yeah, they got billions. They never produced a single product related to protecting this country.
Yeah. All right. We'll be back. We're going to take your calls. Kirk and John, thanks so much for enlightening us and reminding us of what Fauci didn't do, actually, and what Pritzker did in terms of spending $10 million.
That lotto. I mean, I should have entered.
All in for the win.
Yes. All right. Your phone call's coming up. 312-642-5600.
Subscribe to the Real Story podcast on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or at 560theanswer.com.
Your kitchen's outdated. Your bathroom feels cramped. Every day you wait, prices go up.
and you keep living in a space that doesn't work. At Forever Remodeling, one team handles everything. Design, planning, and installation, start to finish. We show you your new space in 3D before we ever break ground. No surprises. With flexible financing options, the home you want is closer than you think. Visit foreverremodeling.com. That's the number 4, everremodeling.com to schedule your personalized in-home design consultation.
Is the IRS throwing high heat like bank levies and wage garnishments and tax liens? Play ball! Are you down to your last strike? Strike 2! When the IRS brings in their closer, you don't bunt. You bring in a power hitter.
That ball is out of here!
At PJN Tax Solutions Group, we go to bat against the IRS. PJN Tax Solutions Group is a local tax resolution firm located right here in St. Charles, Illinois. Don't call some 1-800-FIRM 10 states away. We're right here. Don't let the IRS steal your paycheck, and don't let them tag your bank account out at home plate. This isn't Little League. This is your financial future. Bases are loaded, 2 outs, and a full count. Are you swinging alone, or are you going to call in a professional? Call PJN Tax Solutions Group now at 630-415-5296. Once again, 630-415-5296, or just Google, I want the IRS off my ASS.
Maybe you've thought about taking a cruise. Maybe you've even talked yourself out of it. But this is not just another vacation. This is the Gulf of America cruise. 7 days through the Caribbean with Mike Gallagher, Scott Jennings, Larry O'Connor, Jennifer Horn, and a ship full of people who love this country. No packing and unpacking, no complicated planning, just great destinations, meaningful conversations, and a once-in-a-generation celebration of America's 250th. This November, be there. Text CRUISE to 94878 to book your cabin today. AM 560, The Answer.
America. All right, Dr. Fauci, full of lies. 312-642-5600. I shouldn't have been surprised when he pled the fifth today. Like a coward, like a little sissy. He's a little sissy, but real quick, one of the entries in his, have you had a chance yet to read his diary?
I've read some of it.
Real quick. Dear Diary, Bono called me a global hero. Dear Diary, Julia Roberts got so nervous she had to go get water when she saw my face. Dear Diary, military officers cried taking selfies with me. And that's just some of them. Thank you very much. Cut and scene, take.
All righty. Amy, what do you think of that? Amy in Chicagoland, what do you think of that, his diary?
Well, he just makes me sick, the whole thing. We all know the guy is not being truthful. There's a lot to be said about that. But I was calling just to talk about my memories through COVID and what this man was responsible for. I worked for Eli Lilly, the pharmaceutical company, for 18 years, and I was fired because I refused to take the vaccine, despite the fact I had a medical exemption for multiple sclerosis and I had a religious exemption. And my sister was also fired, even though she was going through breast cancer. And it was just what I witnessed through COVID, through our medical system, but also our government, was just so concerning to me, because you saw how quickly an entire country could just be turned on its head and how easily people complied. That's what this whole thing scared me, and it still scares me to this day, when you saw how quickly people just fell in line with these lies that someone like Fauci would tell. And it was amazing because the information was out there if you really dug for it. That's why I chose not, listening to like Peter McCullough and others. I started really listening closely because I'm in pharma and I kind of knew the red flags of things like these vaccines and the studies. So I started listening to obviously more alternative podcasts and started learning the information. And I said, I cannot take this. Because when at first they started introducing the vaccines, one of the first they would talk about was people with autoimmune diseases. And I've been in remission for years. And I want to go, just even explaining what happened with UW Health System. My neurologist, who I will not mention his name, who was phenomenal, I hadn't seen him in a long time because I had been in remission. And I was trying to get in to see him because I needed the medical exemption. And that was a whole long story. But when I finally was able to get I needed another referral from UW in Rockford to get the appointment in Madison to see this doctor. And when I finally was able to get it, I knew it was just too late because the deadline coming up. Well, this doctor personally called me on the phone and was like, what is your concerns? And I haven't seen you in a really long time. And I explained how I was trying to get in to get the medical exemption. I explained what my concerns were. And he said, you know what? He goes, what are you afraid of? And I said, well, I've been in remission for years, and I'm afraid of not being in remission because I know what it's like when you go through symptoms of MS, and it's not fun.
Yeah.
And he said, you know what? I understand. And then he basically said, you know what? I know. And this man tried to fight with me, but the UW health system refused to allow the doctors to give medical exemptions. And don't tell me that they didn't know the facts of the risk for someone like me or my sister to take this vaccine. And it was just so discouraging to go through that, but to see that, I don't know. It was just...
Yeah.
it
Thanks,
hurts
Amy,
my
so
mind.
much for the
It's
phone
hurting.
call.
Yeah, Amy,
And I'm glad
we
you didn't take the
appreciate
shot.
that. Thanks a lot for putting that perspective back in here. Yeah, no. Okay, let's go to Chris. Chris and Carrie, welcome.
Hey, Amy, it's been a while since we spoke. Yeah, I heard on Dan Proft's show this morning, I'm pretty sure I heard this correctly, but the guest he had on mentioned that Dr. Fauci had a pulmonary event after receiving the vaccine. So I don't know, I don't know if you can correlate causation, but I thought that was very interesting, and no one knew about it. It was covered up.
Yeah, I don't remember. But I remember when people would get the shot and they'd faint right on the spot, or after they took the shot, they would faint. And it was
so many examples of that. So many obvious things. I mean, Ron Johnson put up a whole chart today showing how dangerous the vaccine, the shot was compared to other things, compared to the flu, compared to other events. So anyway, all right, let's go to Marty. Marty in Naperville.
Hi, Marty.
Hi, good morning. How are you guys doing? How are girls doing? Here's the most disgusting thing about these hearings. Every time they go to the Democrat, it all comes back to Trump.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable if you heard any of it. Everything is, well, in today's world, Donald Trump took all this, but it's unbelievable how that's their strategy is get it all back to Trump. It's disgusting, and whatever the whole thing is it's just a joke. So that's all I had to say.
All right, thanks a lot. Text message. My worst moment, COVID moment, was when as a nurse, I was issued a N95 mask for a 12-hour shift. Okay, all right.
I remember that people would have to wear masks for hours.
It's just awful. I can't imagine one. Yeah. Don't
Somebody else.
that one
I've
either.
heard 111 mentions so far of him taking the fifth. Amazing.
Yeah. All right.
Another text message real quick. I would like to remind people that Fauci had people believing that he would contract AIDS from mosquitoes, or on toilet seats way back in the 80s. Remember that? He suggested masks for AIDS back in the 80s.
Yep. Okay, very quickly, Kevin and Austin, you've got about 30 seconds.
30 seconds. All things work for good in God's world. One of the good things that worked out was being able to, at least me personally, I was connected with you, the AM 560 through Morning Answer, and also Trump's vote increased 2.9% even in Illinois from 2020 to 24. Get involved. You can change Illinois.
All right. Thanks a lot. Okay, we're going to keep on this topic. We'll have Jeffrey Tucker on tomorrow to talk about it as well. And of course, I don't want to forget people, what they did to folks who wanted to take ivermectin and actually saved lives. We'll talk about that as well.
Have a great day.